It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to rAVe TV. As you can see, Gary K, he's not here. Kicked him out. Joining me instead is Tim Albright. So, as you guys might know, our end user publication for technical end users, in-house integrators, that is AV Buyers Club on rAVe's site. So this publication of rAVe's is partnering with AV Nation because we wanted to create more news, create more like content that is specifically for this type of person in our industry, because we don't feel like that is currently out there and what other publications are doing. So we have partnered in order to bring all of you guys together and give you a community.
Yeah, and so thank you, Steph, for having me.
Yeah.
You're going to get me in trouble if you keep telling people that we kicked Gary out. But no, it is. So it's AV Nation over the last couple of years has shifted to those in-house integrators, those IT managers that are directly responsible for those systems. And so the idea here is to give them the education, give them the information, the news, the deep dives, the information they need to do their job on a daily basis.
Right. Exactly. So we've got a few different things, projects, plans, schemes up our sleeve. And I think a lot of those are going to be kicking off into the next year. But yeah, we're very excited about this. This is something that we've been probably working on for the better part of a year. At least that's when I was brought in to start working on this. And yeah, we've both gotten a lot of questions about like, what are y'all doing together? What's happening? What? So that's the answer. And we'll keep answering probably for a long time because I'm sure it's confusing to people that they're like, why are two competing publications partnering? So yeah, we'll keep responding. It's fine. Well, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, so we were going to have a special guest today, but she was not able to make it, but that is okay. We're going to have her on next time. But I did want to talk about, so a Legrand AV brand, it's Focal Point Acoustic Systems. They have the True Tile acoustic wall tiles. So they have a few options. Nevo and Ori are a couple of them. So wanted to just bring those up because you would think that like that's not like just thinking about it. Okay, acoustic tile, is that important? Yes, it is absolutely important. I think acoustic tiles will be a staple to the industry for as long or even longer as offices like ours, where you come in and all of the conference rooms are built with industrial ceilings and also surrounded by glass. Yeah. Because we didn't have I don't think that Industrious had integrators come in and be like, is this the best way to have a huddle room? No, they didn't think about that. They just were like, glass is pretty. So as long as there are office rooms like that, these types of acoustic tiles are going to be important. And they're also really pretty. So the True Tile is that like, I think like it's like a third of an inch thick. It's a 2x2 square, and they are available in multiple designs, or they can be solid panels. They can be arranged to create like a lot of unique patterns, because acoustic tiles also don't have to be ugly. I know that they are historically like so gross to look at, but these are actually really gorgeous, and they don't have to ruin the modern aesthetic of your office. But the Nevo is one that fits within a 2x2 grid ceiling. So that is available in drop heights up to 7 inches down from the ceiling in 1 inch increments, I think. And then the Ori is another 2x2 that fits in like a 9, like it fits in a grid ceiling. So they have a few design variations for that one as well. And that one is if you want like a little bit more of like a unique ceiling configuration. So I think it's like 9/16 or something. So yeah, definitely check them out. The different like design options are actually really, really pretty. They've got a ton of colors, and the felt is actually 50% recycled material. So yeah, lots of good stuff. I
Yeah,
feel like
and
threw a lot at everyone.
well,
Sorry.
and soundproofing and sound treatment is incredibly important
Hmm.
when you're talking with architect or whoever in your space. A lot of architects, I'm not saying all, a lot of architects don't consider the sound implications of
Right.
having a glass conference room, right? You're right. Glass
No,
is
they're
pretty.
like, this is pretty.
Yeah. So it's the onus is on you as the building owner, the representative of your company, to say this yes, this is pretty 100%.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound great, right?
No.
The experience isn't great. And so bringing in somebody like Legrand and like a partner to take a listen to the room or take a look at the room in Ease, which is a computer program. You can take a look at the sound implications of a room and say, okay, this is great. Not going to mess with the prettiness of the glass, but we are going to put some panels on the floor, on the ceiling, maybe put some carpeting down to just, knock down the reverberation of the room.
Hmm. So definitely check it out if you are in need of that. If you are like, I sure do hate the way my voice echoes in here, and you want the tile to actually like improve and go with the aesthetics of what your office currently looks like, these are a lovely option. And yes, shout out to Legrand, who has been pretty much our partner from the beginning of rAVe TV, which is, I'm scared to think about how long that's been going on for now. I think it's like 3 or 4 years or something. So that's crazy. But yeah. So Tim, okay, you on AV Nation, you
Mhm.
talked about something really interesting, and this is something that actually got brought up in the office on Monday that we were just talking about too. So this is like power consumption, right? So you don't really think about it, but every time you query ChatGPT, which is just my example,
Yep.
this uses up a ton of power and also like a lot of water,
Yeah.
because these machines that are running these queries need to be cooled. And so there is a lot of beginning journalism that people have started to do, a little bit of investigation and asking questions about how much water is getting used per day by these like AI running machines.
Yeah. And the power consumption is where we went to because Microsoft, and I'll pick on Microsoft for a second, they're partnering with a couple of nuclear power plants and ramping some back up because of that power consumption. And
Hmm.
where this fits into is AV is inherently one of the biggest users of power in your building.
Hmm.
Um, whether that's an amplifier, right? And companies have worked for years on reducing that power consumption, but it's pretty much a power hog. Projectors, right? Especially the bigger the projector is, the more power it's going to consume. So, AV is going to start battling for power and power usage with a lot of these AI companies. And so the question came into, what can we do as an industry? What can you do as users as you're developing and as you're designing and deploying your next suite of conference rooms, right?
Hmm.
And so it really came down to being really conscious of the power consumption. It's a spec on the sheet, right? And it's
Right.
typically not the most exciting spec that you're going to look at, but it's going to become increasingly important because between AI and the increasing electronic vehicles that are out there, all these things are drawing, especially in the States, on an antiquated power grid.
Hmm.
So this is something. It's more of a kind of a warning. Say, hey, start paying attention to the power specs on the gear that you're putting into, and you can even go so far as to say, okay, this conference room or this conference room type, it's going to require X amount of wattage. Can we do anything with that? Can we reduce that? Can
Yeah.
if we swap out this amplifier, if we swap out this display, how much does that save us?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I pulled a clip. You talked about this on AV Week, the most recent episode, and I pulled just a short, like 30-second clip of a little bit of what you guys talked about, so we can roll that now.
That's the next discussion we've not even had is where does AV line up in the competition for getting energy for having things that are fueled by AI? You know, the entire AV industry can fit in Amazon's year.
Oh yeah.
Twice.
Oh yeah.
This industry is going to be something entirely different a decade from now. And I think even the idea of pro AV as its own sort of separate club and tribe, I don't think it's really going to exist.
Okay. Tim, you just picked on Microsoft. I'll pick on Microsoft again. For those of you who might not know, I attended Microsoft Ignite, which I think I was there the 18th through the 20th. And I picked my top 10 moments from the show. And some of those are products, some of those are interviews. One of them is where I got to talk to Josh Blaylock at Jobber. You might know him as the guy who just like wears a cowboy hat. And he is great. He's actually just such a good storyteller. So he was a really, really good interview to just talk about where he thinks that Jabra fits in to, you know, all of these manufacturers that are now partnering with Microsoft to make their products work even better with that platform, and where even Jabra can fit in with Copilot, because everyone was basically talking about Microsoft Copilot throughout this entire show. I mean, it's been out, but there are so many new capabilities for it that it really, really like was the star of the show. And I didn't attend Zoomtopia this year, but I did like watch the virtual sessions, and I'm very interested to see how these two continue to like be competitive in this like video conferencing market, because it does seem like both companies want you to think of AI first and video conferencing second. Like Zoom just changed its name, right?
Yeah.
What is it now? It's like Zoom.
It's not Zoom AI, but it's yeah.
Isn't it like it was Zoom Video Communications and now it's Zoom Communications Inc.?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that Zoom, like what people are saying is Zoom's new name reflects on its focus on AI and its move beyond video conferencing, which is so interesting.
And do you remember at Enterprise Connect, you were excited about all the different communication tools they were coming out with
Yeah.
that were like the mail and the
Mhm.
chat and the calendaring and all that stuff. So
And guess
yeah,
what? I
they're
don't use
moving
it.
beyond. Yeah. They're moving beyond.
Yeah, they are. But I think that it's going to be so hard to compete with Microsoft in that way, because Microsoft has been around and been established. Like before Teams, before anything, everybody used Microsoft's Office suite.
Yeah.
Like that was standard. That was what you grew up learning to use when you learned how to use a computer. So Microsoft has just been in so many parts of like the unified communication market from beginning to end for so long that I think that I understand why Zoom, the company, feels like it needs to be competitive in the market, so they need to keep up with the Joneses in a way. But Tim, what is your opinion on, should a company try to do everything, or should they just be good at what they're good at?
Oy.
Yeah, you know.
I have made a career out of telling people to stay in their lane. So my general
Right.
sense is, and I will bring it back a little bit to the AV companies, because there are so many AV companies that have started to expand out, and they started making X, right? Whatever X is. And they're like, oh, there's a lot of money to be made over here. So instead of partnering with somebody that does that really well, they're like, well, we can do that too.
Right.
And sometimes they lose focus, and you feel that as a customer, right? Now, should Zoom, expand out and try to compete with Microsoft? Well, they're already competing with Microsoft,
Right.
And so keeping folks in their ecosystem from a financial standpoint and a business standpoint makes a lot of sense. From a user standpoint, yeah, I've played around with their calendaring. It's okay. It's not great. And like you said, I grew up with Microsoft, and
Mhm.
I'm old enough that I grew up really like Microsoft 2.0, I think,
Right.
or Windows 2.0. So I have grown up with this software. I've been through the growing pains of it, used the cruddy versions of it, and today I don't know if it's great, but it's what I know. And so Zoom's going to have a big hill to climb to get people out of that habit.
I 100% agree. Um, and I think that it's only going to really make a mark if Zoom really brings something new to the experience.
Yeah.
Like Zoom is like, well, we have mail now, and we do have Zoom documents and this and that and the other. But it's like, okay, but, I don't know.
And so does Google, right? So maybe they're also going after Google because Google has Meet,
Right.
and I don't want to go down that road, but
Let's not.
I'm not
But,
a big fan of Google Meet. But
right.
maybe they're also seeing that them as a player and also
Mhm.
as a competitor, and Zoom's going, okay, we can do that too, right? We've got the
Right.
capabilities, we've got the engineers, we got this.
But no, maybe we should talk about Google Meet for a second, because that is probably a lot of what the people who we are trying to talk to use, because the greatest thing about Google and its Office suite and Google Meet is that it's free at its
Yep,
most basic level, and you get a lot with,
with
just
the free version.
signing up in the free version. I don't think you can do unlimited timed meetings with Google Meet for free, but like that's one of the only ones that's just free to use. You don't need to pay for a license. So I totally understand why so many schools would use
Oh,
this, because the budget is nothing.
no,
So the free thing is obviously what's going to be great. So, and I use the Google Suite. I share Google Docs with you all the time. So I mean, like, there are going to be people who use everything, but it just feels like a little late to the game for Zoom. But I could also just not know what I'm talking about. And
I think you do. The other thing about it is Google, much like Max did years ago. They've gotten into the school systems, into the early school systems, right? My kids are my youngest is still in high school,
Mhm.
and um, by and large, Google G Suite is in elementary and middle and
Mhm.
high school, right? So the equivalency to Mac is years ago. Mac started at the process of let's get into the education system, right? Let's indoctrinate these kids into using a Mac and this, that, and the other. And that
Mhm.
was a great idea until those folks got into the business world.
Right.
And especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, there wasn't a Fortune 100 company that would use a Mac to save their life, right?
Yeah.
I grew up doing content, right, in
Mhm.
radio and TV. So we lived on Macs, right? But as
Mhm.
creatives, but the accountants didn't, right?
Right.
So I understand that the thought process of getting these folks using Google products, using the G Suite until they get into the business world, and the hope, I guess, from Google's point of view, is that they will become so used to it and so enamored by it that when they get into the business world and they become a decision maker, they're like, hey, we should use G Suite because
Right.
it's fantastic.
No, I 100% understand what you're saying. And I am a Mac user, but I just personally hate, like, Mac's suite of that. Like, I cannot stand Pages.
Really?
Yeah. I am a Mac user, but I prefer G Suite.
Okay.
I think that is a young millennial Gen Z preference.
And so I prefer this is weird. I prefer Microsoft products on a
Mhm.
Mac.
Okay. Great. So we settled that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into some news stories that have happened since the last time Tim and I were on here doing this type of episode of rAVe TV. So, first one, Panasonic, some short throw LCD projectors that output 7,000 lumens. So this is really interesting. I was on a webinar with Gary Kay and Jonathan Braun yesterday about like wrapping up 2024 and what we can expect in 2025. And Gary was like, "What?" He was like, "What do you think, Steph? Do you think that people are gonna use projectors always, or do you think that we'll eventually move totally to like displays?" And I was like, I know we'll always use projectors because they are so much cheaper and easier to replace in a university, in a, elementary K through 12 school, in like government, like, in a government situation, in courts, like places where you maybe don't have the budget to just like put a new display in when you feel like it. So
Yeah.
I think projectors are always going to be important. And these are actually aimed at corporate environments. So, it just depends on your preference in terms of like a corporate environment, but also these are made for an immersive museum environment. And it is a lot hard to do some immersive, really cool mapping with a display. Like, how do you do that? So, I think projectors are always going to be very, very important, especially as they continue to get brighter and cheaper.
And I agree with you. The projectors have had a little bit of a renaissance here lately between projection mapping. Again, you can't do that with a display, and you can't do that even with OLED. A lot of stuff that they're doing. Short throw is one of those technologies that actually enhance the usability both in corporate and higher education in general, whether it's higher ed or K-12. Because instead of the instructor sitting or standing in the line of the projection beam, it's behind them. They can talk, they can teach, and they can reference it without part of the image being projected on their shirt.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think that we're always going to see that these are continuing to be important, and especially like now that like lamp-based ones are just like basically gone. We're doing great because those were kind of a nightmare to replace those pieces and parts. And I do think that it's a lot easier. So
Yeah, if you've never replaced a bulb while standing on a ladder, yeah.
no, I
It's
can't say
fun.
that I have, but I've like watched it be done. And I was like, that kind of looks like a pain.
Oh, I have. And the fun one is when the bulb or the lamp explodes in your hand while you're in the 20 feet in the air on a ladder.
Is there mercury in there? Like, are you
I don't
okay?
know. I'm sure I violated some OSHA thing or something at some point in time.
Okay, well, yeah, that's it happens. All right, so another one of our sponsors and partners is Shure, who has been with us from the very beginning. Again, like all 3-4 years, however long we've been doing this. So we are going to roll a quick spot from them.
Did you know organizations that invest in good quality audio equipment achieve more productive and meaningful work from day one of installation? You see, when you add up the benefits of using good audio equipment, like motivated employees and improved decision-making, it helps a company focus on its goals and truly achieve success. On the flip side, neglecting or opting for subpar audio devices leads to compounding negative effects. For instance, loss of productivity, heightened fatigue, poor communication, collaboration woes, and mounting frustration, all taking an organization further away from its goals. Audio plays a crucial role in interactions within mixed-mode meetings. Don't let low-quality audio hold you back. Let your performance shine.
Okay. So continuing on with the news, this is actually a really big one. I think this is really important. Sony added free NDI licenses for its remote cameras. And this is huge for, I think, like the education community in particular, because this is a free feature for its remote camera systems, like completely free, available for newly sold ones and existing products that fall under this as a free firmware upgrade. Tim, why is this important? Why is free NDI important to have in cameras, particularly in like the education setting?
Well, first of all, anything free in the education setting is a good thing, because
Yeah.
you already said this. They don't have a whole lot of budget. The NDI is one of those technologies that is increasingly getting put onto college campuses,
Mhm.
because it's low impact on the network. You can put these pretty much anywhere there's a network jack, and so the ability to have a free NDI license kind of, and Sony knows this, it allows puts you, when you're designing your system, go, oh, okay, I can do this, right? I can specify these cameras without any additional cost. So the total cost of ownership of that system all of a sudden dramatically goes down.
Yes, exactly. And if you want to check out the full list of what cameras this applies to, you can go to ravepubs.com. And also the free NDI license was starting. They were starting to provide that on December 1st. So we've
Okay.
got 3 days of that so far. So definitely go and check that out. So another one, rAVe, another one of our sponsors and partners, they received Ring Central certification for its ETZ cameras. So Tim, are you familiar with Ring Central and what is going on with
So
it?
Ring Central in general, yeah, it's a
Yep.
communications company, and they're typically unified communications. They do phone systems and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And the fact that Aver's got in there as one of their partners is actually really, really beneficial to the folks that have standardized and are using Ring Central as a solution.
Because you can use it as a video conferencing platform as well. I would not say that it's like super competitive with like the big three, the Microsoft, Zoom, Google, but I would say that some people use that if they are already using that as their phone system.
Yep.
So I think that rAVe is just really working hard at being really easy to use with whatever platform you prefer. And I think that is very good, obviously, for the community because, not everyone uses the big three. So I do think it's good that they are focusing a little bit out of that. And the certified rAVe products, I think it's like 6 or 7 of them. But go ahead and you can check them out at ravepubs.com.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what the next story is. This is Panasonic's 110-inch all-in-one LED. This is a very big all-in-one LED. I don't think I've seen the one this size in forever. Oh, did we lose Tim? Okay, well he'll be back. He'll be back. It'll be fine. So yes, I don't think I had seen a 110-inch all-in-one LED. Is Tim back?
Yep.
Oh, great. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
I think that this is a huge all-in-one, and also it's 1.2 millimeter pixel pitch. So this was Panasonic Connect Europe unveiled this, and it's aimed at classrooms, lecture theaters, and corporate environments. So IP based, and I think like 1.27 millimeter pixel pitch, 110-inch diagonal. So it's very cool, and it's also supposed to have like an eco-friendly design, so that it controls the power and the brightness to suit the install environment. So it can operate continuously if you would like to use it in like a digital signage format, while also reducing power consumption. And it also has some built-in burn-in prevention and correction technology. So it's also got front access, which if you install them, you know how important and nice that front access is, and maintaining them. So yeah, I think that this is a really cool product. I don't know, Tim, I didn't think I had seen a 110-inch all-in-one, like super, just a lot of them out there.
No.
Is this more common than I thought?
No, I've seen, so, and I know 10 inches might seem minimal. I've seen a lot of 100 inches, right?
Right.
110 is more than I have seen, especially in all-in-ones. that eco design actually goes back to one of our first stories about power consumption
Mm-hmm.
and the ability for you to say, okay, this is going to take X, Y, and Z watts to run, or we can put it in this mode and we can reduce the overall power consumption as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, another one of our sponsors and partners is rAVe, and we have a short video to show you from them.
Hey everyone, my name is Rich Moscoso, product manager for rAVe Connected Health. And today I want to discuss some of our medical cameras. So we have two models, really there's three models. The MD330U, the MD330UI, and the MD120UI. And I just wanted to cover some of the basics of all those cameras and what the differences are. So as always, I can be reached at rich.moscoso@rAVe.com should you have any additional questions after the video. So the MD330U is a professional 30x 4K medical grade camera. What you'll notice with the MD330U, it has 4 LEDs baked in, which is really helpful, say when the camera is on a medical cart and you need to remove the camera lens to get a closer look at the patient. You'll also notice there's
So that was just a clip, but if you want to watch the full video about the differences between the MD330 and the MD120, you can scan that QR code. You can also go and check out rAVe USA, or I think they posted it on their LinkedIn as well. So rAVe USA on LinkedIn. But continuing on, love to talk about a case study each week, and this one is about Jamestown, New York. They are modernizing Jamestown Public School District. They have put some LG Create Board smart boards into the classroom. So they have put them in every classroom across the 10 K-12 schools in the district. These are 86-inch Create boards, and so this is kind of giving those faculty and students just more access to these digital tools and simplifying technology management through LG's centralized platforms. So
Doing stuff like this and giving instructors the ability to bring kids and part of it is including the students, right? And it's part of the teaching mechanism now, where you are getting kids up and out of their seats and interacting with this, and it studies have shown that it actually increases their learning and their comprehension. And so doing stuff like this is really, really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that any type of technology where you can like annotate, pull things up on the internet, like I will never forget when we started integrating smart boards when I was in middle school. This was like one of the first times I remember like seeing a product like this, like an IFP, was in 8th grade. And the only bad thing was I think that they did not train the teachers on how to use it. They were like, here you go, figure it out. And I think that a lot of the technology providers out there, the integrators, the in-house integrators, do a lot better of a job like making sure the teachers are prepared and knowing like how to use this and how to use it to its best ability. I will never forget that when I was in 8th grade, a sub like didn't know what a smartboard was, so she like went to write with the expo marker on the smartboard, and we went, oh no, like to stop her. But I don't think like that is as big of an issue these days, because most people, they see that and they know what it is. But yeah, I think that getting kids out of their seats and getting them to do more than just look at a chalkboard or a whiteboard, that they can have this page on the internet and they can annotate it with the marker or their finger. It does help them learn in a better way than just sitting and talking to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so okay, winding down here, we have an upcoming virtual event that I wanted to let everyone know about. This is Crestron's AI Roadmap Essentials. This is going to be on December 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So, Tim, you're going to be part of this.
Yep.
So tell me,
So,
what are we going to learn? What's going to happen during this?
so AI is you and I are both getting ready for ISE, right? ISE
Mhm.
2025, and AI. You will walk through every hall in
Mhm.
Barcelona, and you will see AI everywhere.
Yes.
Some of it will be legitimate. Some of it will be marketing fluff.
Machine learning.
Yeah, but buzzwords. And so what we're going to do at this event is kind of break down exactly how AI is impacting the AV world, right? And Crestron has done a really good job over the last few months. They've done a couple of speeches, they've done a couple of talks where they've said, okay, here's how AI is really going to impact your world. Here's how AI is going to impact your meeting spaces. Here's how AI can impact your education spaces. And so we're going to dive into that and really give folks some takeaways to go, okay, this is really, how we can leverage AI today
Yeah.
in our world.
So definitely you guys should come. Yeah, Tim's going to be part of it. Gary K is going to be part of it. I know y'all miss him. Brad Hintz of Crestron and Marin Corrigan of Microsoft are all going to be part of this. Four really great people to sit and like really listen to all that they are going to teach you about like where this is taking our industry, what's going to happen, what's important about this, what should you know, can you utilize AI in your company without breaking the bank? So these are all really important questions that they are going to answer. So if you want to scan that QR code, you can go ahead, save your seat, add it to your calendar so it will notify you when it's about to start. So can't wait to see you there. Tim, I think that has been another episode. I appreciate you hopping on here and being my co-host.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great Wednesday.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary.